G'day Internet, Max Wright here, and this video is going to be answering a whole bunch of questions I received. So I put out a video asking for questions from the paid members, and so I'm just going to go through them one at a time. Not too much to report in the markets today. Obviously, there was a big crash yesterday. I talked about that in a separate video, so I won't repeat myself here. We'll just get straight into the questions. From Jennifer, I've heard of the possibility of a crypto price drop around 9/11, then will go up. What do you think? I don't know where you heard that from, but yeah, no idea. No idea where that came from or if there's any wisdom to that. From John, I'm considering a liquidity pool opportunity in ETH that returns 2% daily and allows immediate withdrawal. It basically stacks the rewards in more ETH. Would you recommend liquidity pools like this and/or other things like Rune? Thank you so much for everything. So yes, so obviously, look, staking can be very lucrative. A lot of people making a lot of money with staking. I don't have anything against staking per se. 2% daily seems pretty incredibly high. So yeah, feel free to let me know what it is. I'm curious about it myself. But when they get that high, I start to get concerned that there's some kind of scam or there's something wrong with them. But you haven't told me which one it is, so I can't really have an opinion on that. Please explain the differences between spot price trading and outright purchase of crypto. I do know the fees are substantially different. Yellen mentioned crypto trading gains should be taxed at 80% at some point, but no mention of buy-sell gains. Is there currently a tax consequence difference? Are there other benefits consequences to either? If you're a long-term holder, is one strategically better than the other? So, like, I don't think you're using terms here which would be considered like IRS terms. And by the way, I'm not an accountant, not a lawyer, all those good things. So check all this stuff out. But you're just talking about trading versus buying and holding. And I think, but check this out, in your country, generally, if you hold the crypto for more than 12 months before you sell it, then you're going to be in the world of long-term capital gains. If you hold it for less than 12 months, you're going to be in the world of short-term capital gains. And so those are kind of the two. I think that's what you're referring to there with those two differences. Yeah, what else is there? Yes, that is the tax consequence. So I think one is by definition a long-term hodler. That's the outright purchase of crypto, whereas spot trading would be you're in and out constantly. So I hope that helps, LB. Hi Max, two questions. If we need to realize BTC during the high, as we likely to hit any technical difficulties selling, if large number of people are also selling at the same time, any advice? Okay, so you're worried about technical difficulties of selling. I've heard you say you will never sell your BTC. How can you release profit? Okay, so blockchain difficulties? No. Like Bitcoin's going to be able to handle that network. However, sometimes during those peak times, exchanges struggle. So you might see a Kraken or a Coinbase or something have some kind of struggle during some peak frenzy. And that can happen. So yeah, it's a good idea to be set up at several different exchanges, have a little bit of redundancy there. But otherwise, there's no problem with being able to sell your crypto whenever you want. There's several ways to release the profit. There's centralized ways, which is like you can use companies like BlockFi, link in the description. And what you can do is you can let them custody your Bitcoin. They use that as collateral, and then you can borrow against it. That's one way to do it. You can also leave it with them, and they'll pay you interest, and so you can just earn money from your crypto. So there's several different ways in which you can do that. Hi Max, why is there a maximum dollar amount of purchase for a week in my Coinbase account? It only let me purchase $150 worth of crypto per week. I don't use Coinbase, but I'm guessing the reason that is KYC AML. So most of the exchanges have different tiers depending on how much information you've provided them. Probably with just an email address, you can probably just buy $150 worth. If you give them your license or passport, then they'll probably they'll raise that. If you link a phone number or a bank account, they'll raise your limit. So it's to do with what level you're at, and you can check out the Coinbase help things for that. Look out, I would search for Coinbase, KYC, AML, stuff like that. You'll find it in there, or Coinbase limits. How to increase my Coinbase limits? You'll find it right there. Hey Max, if I want to transfer Cardano to my Coinomi wallet, Do I simply copy and paste my wallet's public key to the Coinbase, or are there separate public keys created for each type of coins within the wallet? There are separate public keys created for each type of coin in the wallet. I'm not specifically familiar with Coinomi wallet, but that is typically what it does. So what you would do, you want to transfer Cardano to Coinomi wallet. So go into Coinomi wallet, find, there'll be some place to find Cardano, and then they'll be able to click on deposit usually. So you'll click on deposit. So you want to deposit Cardano in the Coinomi wallet, and it'll give you a Cardano deposit address. You then go back to, where are you? Coinbase, and you say you want to withdraw. And so, or send your coins, something like that. And you click on send coin or withdraw your Cardano coins from Coinbase and paste in the address that you got from the Coinomi wallet. That is usually how it works. Yes, I think I covered that one. Let's see. Are you still watching for the mid-month high and the fourth Friday low to accumulate Bitcoin? A great question, Gord. So during the, let's call it the May-June sort of crash, the 30-day cycle that I referred to stopped working. It didn't follow it anymore. But what I expect is in the next leg up, I expect that to continue working. So I keep my eyes on it, but I'm looking for confirmation that that is back in play. But I think it's only really in play during a rapidly rising market like we had in like Q1 of this year. So something to consider there. Hi Max, is it fair to ask, where do you see the current bull market to top, please? A lot of people think December, January, but market often does the reverse. What do you think? Yeah, Ali, this is a good one. This is really, really different. I was a lot more confident in the last cycle in 2017. This looks really, really different. And there's just a lot smarter people in with institutions and things like that. And this isn't like retail traders where they just it's just all fear and greed and you can kind of predict it. The market is changing, the participants are changing, and there's literally entire teams of very, very, very smart people, in control of a lot of coins, and they're deciding what they're going to do. And so they're looking historically, they're anticipating this. They've seen the brain power going into this is significantly different than on prior cycles. Last time it was just retail, people who had day jobs, they'd come home and trade crypto, and there was some limited things that they could do. This is different, and it's hard to say. I mean, there's certainly a theory out there that the 4-year cycle is dead and gone, and there's some merit to that argument. There's a lot going on. Whereas retail is going to FOMO in a lot more, I don't think that institutions are going to FOMO in that much more. And really, we need institutions they're going to move the market. It's harder for retail to move the market because the market cap is so big now. And so I've got to admit, this one is really confusing me. I've got a lot of conflicting thoughts about it. I've entertained the thought that it's going to, the top's going to happen earlier, but be a lot shallower. So basically, the earlier the top is, a lot more shallow the crash afterwards will be. And maybe that means that it's the end of the 4-year cycle, and we might get some. It just won't go down as much, and we just might have we'll just have steady growth. But my forecast and other people's forecasts for how big the crypto market is going to be, it's like we're only 3 years away from being like 1 billion people into crypto. Right now we're about 200 million. And by 2028 it's going to be something like 3 billion people. These are different market dynamics. Things are happening very, very differently as we get into this part of the adoption cycle, and it is really, really hard for me to predict, I have to say. But what I'm looking at a lot is on-chain metrics, hoping that gives us some clues. So I think there's plenty of upside in this market still to go. I think this Q4 is going to be a fun rally. But time will tell. There's another argument that says it's going to be elongated, when we usually end around December, the year of the cycle. But again, there's plenty of reason to say that this one's going to go a lot longer. And so it would be very interesting. It might, whereas we usually just go vertical towards the end of the year, the cycle year and the 4-year cycle. It could be that it just plays out a lot longer, or people could anticipate that, front run that, spike early, and then crash there. There's a lot of ways it can go. I'm looking at it like daily and trying to like keep my eyes on it. But this is a different cycle, and so it's going to be a challenge predicting this. Could you please give an update on gold and silver potential? Looking to add to my that means retirement. Self-managed super fund for the Australians. If you don't have enough for real estate when I take crypto profits, would I put into gold, silver, USDC, or still not at all, new to all this? It's a good question. I think I would put it into USDC if I were you. In the situation where you're not going to buy real estate, you can't buy dividend-paying stock for whatever reason. If there just hasn't been a real estate crash and there hasn't been a stock market crash, I would look at putting it into a stable coin, but probably not full allocation, because everything decides on whether or not there's a crash. It could be that there is no crashes anymore. That's the real catch of this situation. There's just not going to be crashes in real estate and stocks anymore. It just goes up and up forever. And what that means is just hyperinflation. This isn't a good thing. This is a horrible thing. But it just means hyperinflation. They just have to, every time there's a problem, they just print, and eventually, who knows how many years, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now, you go into hyperinflation if they don't let these pullbacks happen. So again, it's really, really tough. And it's something I watch daily, think about daily, trying to anticipate, see where they're moving. But we only see these are cycles. But the cycle that's playing out now is like an 80 to 100 year cycle. So we don't have that many of them to study, and it's not like I can remember what happened in the last cycle, like what happened in 2008, stuff like that. The biggest macro cycle now that I can see, and there's even there's a 500 year cycle at play too, but this is kind of tying into a much bigger cycle, and these are kind of hard to study. So it's interesting times. And we'll watch it closely and we'll do the best, but it's hard to predict what's going to happen out there. Hi Max, I require collating my capital purchases and dates of purchases due to tax. It's highway robbery in Australia. Are there any ways around this? I need to gain knowledge in taking profits. Thank you in advance. So you're saying, is there any way around this? So there are ways around paying tax, or there are easy ways to get the tax information? So there are easy ways to get the tax information. I'm pretty sure there's a link in the description of this video that'll help you find one. But there's a services where you can just go. They download all of the information from your exchanges, and pay presto, they give you a piece of paper that you can give back to the ATO. So it makes it very, very easy. Are there ways around this? For Australians, I don't think so. There may be, but I don't live in Australia. I don't pay Australian taxes, so I'm not like that on this Johnny on the spot with that. Ways around it are there are several countries around the world that you pay zero taxes on your crypto gains. One of them being a very, very lovely country, Portugal. It's very first world. And so you can just move, if Australia will let you leave, which is questionable at the moment, you can just go to Portugal, live there for several years, and while you're there, you're not paying taxes. So you're not paying taxes in Australia, and your crypto profits are tax-free. So that's a fun one. El Salvador would be another one, by the way. If Feds close all on and off ramps in or out of crypto, what are our options? What do you think of NFTs? Are those next? Bitcoin platform you recommend for NFTs? Thank you. Love your videos and service to the community. So if for some reason all the on and off ramps were closed, what would happen would be a massive black market would pop up very, very quickly. And so you would actually trade with your neighbors. I use that term loosely, but you'll trade with someone in your city. And so that's something that would happen for sure. NFTs, I know some people are so excited by NFTs. It's just not my world, so it's really hard for me to get there. And just paying money paying huge amounts of money for these stupid little things that are just like exploding on the market, which means there's just going to be an avalanche of them. I don't get it. And it doesn't make sense to me, but I know the numbers are there. I know people are considering it. I mean, I might sell NFTs, but man, I'm not interested in buying any me personally. So I hope that helps. What do you think about Cardano, and when do you recommend to sell our Ethereum and Bitcoin? Yeah, I think Cardano is a great project. I think it's actually my third biggest bag. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano in that order. And when do you recommend to sell Bitcoin, Ethereum? Yeah, that's a kind of, I had that question before, and I'll have that question many, many times. It's a really, really hard market to predict because it's changing so much. But I'm looking at it. I think on-chain metrics is going to be the biggest clue, and we can look at those things. All we can do is keep an eye on it and have our best guess. But markets are very, very hard to read right now. Hi Max, can a bail-in ever occur with crypto? A bail-in can, if you hold the keys, then no. But let's say you leave your crypto on an exchange like Kraken, Coinbase, or whoever else, then yes, a bail-in can occur in those scenarios, and have. Basically, that's what happened to Mt. Gox. Bail-ins occurred. So, yeah, they can occur if you do not have the private keys. If you have the private keys, they can't occur. Where do you put the BTC you sell prior to the BTC winter? Where do you put? So what do you do with the cash that you sell prior to the BTC winter? So it depends on the market at the time, but I like to buy cash flow. The goal is to buy cash flow. So I could buy apartment buildings, we could buy dividend paying stock. But I'll also, at that time, I'll be looking at the real estate market, be looking at the stock market, and just seeing where everything is. So I might just leave it in cash for a little while and wait for those markets to get better. So that's just something you need to know. How do I apply for a BTC credit or debit card to use for regular purchases? I am worried the banks will cancel credit cards based on social credit systems or Vax passports. So the BTC credit or debit cards, they are still MasterCard and Visa branded. So most of them are anyway. I think that's what what I've seen. So they are still, but a company has gone along and partnered with Visa and MasterCard, and so they've allowed people to deposit their crypto with them, and then they just have a Visa MasterCard, and it's just kind of a union. But if they want to cancel it's not just because Bitcoin is uncensorable. It doesn't mean Bitcoin credit cards and debit cards are uncensorable. They'll rely on the Visa MasterCard network, and they will be censorable as well. So it's not going to solve your problem. You have to actually pay in crypto, not a crypto credit card. I reviewed the 6 most commonly asked questions. Do you still feel the same about some of the things you said? That the dollar is going to get stronger and for the moment is a good store of value? If not, what, in your opinion, is a good store of value? Is there a way to determine which coins belong to which asset classes? DeFi, Layer 1, NFT? Thanks. And it's changing so fast, it's confusing and easy to get lost. Yes, it is. Is there a way to determine which coins belong to which asset classes? Only knowledge and experience in the space. So there's obviously definitions in here, but I'm assuming you know that if you're having trouble applying it. And so that's just a little bit of experience that you need. Just stay in the space and it'll all become very obvious what's going on there. Is the dollar a good store of value? I mean, long term, absolutely not. Just if real estate and stock markets come down, then yes. And so this is the inflation deflation argument that the whole world's having right now. Can the central banks of the world dictate that there will never be a crash anymore? Will there be no serious recession? Will there be no serious depression? And so that's the question everyone's asking, and it's hard to know. Look, I think there probably will be a pullback here in real estate and stocks at some point, but it's going to be relatively short-lived because it's going to be met with an unholy amount of money printing. And so, just time will tell. It's very, very hard to know what's happening in that space. But a lot of people have opinions on these things. What I find is they have opinions. They watch their favorite commentators. They might watch, Peter Schiff or Harry Dent or Mike Maloney or whatever. And they have their favorite commentators, and they have an opinion. Or Kathy Woods, another great one. Michael Burry, Michael, which one he is from The Big Short. People have their gurus, and they have an opinion on what they think is going to happen. And then they're just sure, okay, if this is going to happen, what do I do? So for me, it's very easy to tell you what to do if we know what's going to happen. The question is figuring out what's going to happen. And there's a lot of gurus making a lot of videos telling people, this way or that way. And really coming in with a solid plan is very, very challenging. And knowing which way it's going to go. Really, I don't think anybody knows with certainty. And so you have to manage your portfolio so that you're going to be fine either way. And I look at it, I want to be fine either way, right? That I can handle situations for a certain amount of time frame. And then what is going to recover the fastest? And so that's why, for me, really, Bitcoin and US dollars are the only two investments worth looking at the moment. I should say crypto. Crypto and US dollars, only two investments worth looking at. If there's inflation, if things go up, your Bitcoin's going to save you and it's going to make you very, very rich. If things go down, your dollars are going to save you. You don't have to liquidate your Bitcoin. And what they'll do in response to that deflationary environment is they're going to print a ton and it'll come back very, very quickly. And Bitcoin will lead the way back. That's why, to me, it's the safest bet, because it's the bet that says, I don't know. I don't know. Inflation, deflation, I don't know. And the answer is they can do whatever the hell they want. Like, I'm all the conspiracy theorist on this. And they can do whatever the hell they want. It just depends on however they can fleece the most amount of people at the time. And so I'm not an insider. I don't know what they're going to do. There's no point being really good at economics. Throw all your economics out the window. It doesn't matter anything. It only matters what they want to do. And so that's the situation we find ourselves in. And so the plan that I've formulated is I'm going to be fine either way, and I'm going to recover very, very quickly if it goes against me. So I'm more heavily weighted in Bitcoin than dollars, and that's just the only two places I need to have my money. That's my strategy. Cash. There are many sources saying that the banks will exercise a bail-in and take cash from one's account, and that the government will inflate like heck to reduce the amount of debt accrued with cheap dollars. What are your thoughts? Inflating like heck to reduce the amount of debt accrued with cheap dollars. What are your thoughts? I don't understand why inflating like heck would reduce the amount of debt. If they inflate, that usually creates more debt, because people want to borrow the debt. People want to borrow the money. Usually the debt is fixed. And you can pay it off with inflated money years later, and it basically washes the debt away. So I'm not quite sure about your last part of this thing. Bail-ins is something I've been talking about for many, many years. And I have noticed that in the last kind of month or two, it's become a lot more popular. A lot of people are catching on to this concept that bail-ins are possibilities. And that's all it is. It's a bail-in. I think it's going to happen too. But it's without Bitcoin in the world, I would have felt a lot more certain. But it's possible that they changed their plans because of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just such a beast, and maybe they want to slow it down a little bit. But a bail-in would just absolutely send Bitcoin's price soaring. The day of the bail-in, no one's selling their Bitcoin. How can you sell your Bitcoin and then accept cash for your Bitcoin, stick it in what institution do you feel comfortable with isn't going to take half of it? So if there's any bail-in, the price of Bitcoin absolutely goes parabolic. And if that's the case, that it hurts them so much, unless they've been buying Bitcoin in the background, which I don't think they have, then bail-ins hurt them now. Bail-ins hurt them now more than they used to. And so I'm not sure if they're going to... I'm pretty sure bail-in was the plan once upon a time. They may stick with it. I'm not sure if they will anymore. Because of Bitcoin. I've made the argument in many different places that Bitcoin is a floor for humanity, like tyranny and oppression and central bank money printing, all these things. It just drives down the quality of life for the general citizen. But Bitcoin raises the floor. There's always a floor. Like, the floor used to be revolution, all right? And people had to go and take to the streets and face off men with guns with sticks. But they did it. Like, revolutions happen. There's the army around the king, and you get to go and fight them with inferior weapons, but eventually you're starving and you're mad enough that you do it. And that used to be the floor. That's how far tyrants could go. And Bitcoin's raised the floor, because now you have a peaceful thing, a solution, and one that requires much less courage. And it's decentralized. It's very hard for them to attack. Not just them, but the hodlers. You just grab your Bitcoin, go back to your home, travel, go to a different country. People don't know you. People don't know your financial circumstances in another country. And all of a sudden, you've opted out of the system. You don't need to face off the army with sticks. And so Bitcoin has just massively raised the floor for humanity in its fight against tyranny. So it's possible that, our enemies at the central banks have to change their behavior and change their strategy as a result. What is your view on investing in the Grayscale Trust funds? I know these funds don't exactly track the price of the coins, and the costs are pricey. That said, I've made a lot of money with these funds without the hassles of actually owning and trading any coins. Yeah, Ron, you make a good point there. And I think for some people, like I hear people who try and buy Bitcoin and give up. Generally, it's the older community, people who are not particularly tech savvy. They say, look, I really want to get involved in Bitcoin. I watched your courses, and private keys just melted my brain. And I couldn't play. And so if you are someone, I mean, I think it's pretty easy. Just get a Kraken account, go through the security features, and just keep it there at Kraken. I think that's a very good option that pretty much anybody can do. But some people even can't do that, and that's okay. There's no problem with that. Right? We all have our different skill sets. And I think the Grayscale Trust is a sensational opportunity for them. It's a really good way to do it. They can just log into their Ameritrade account or their Charles Schwab account or whatever it is that they've been using for the last 50 years and just say, hey, buy me some Bitcoin. Cool. I mean, you can even do it in your PayPal account now. So just, there's that. And also now, if you're for the high net wealth people, you can do it in the banks. Pretty much all the banks offer Bitcoin funds but I think they're just using Grayscale Trust, to be fair, and they're just taking even more slice for themselves. So you can do that through your bank account now for the high net wealth individuals, and for many, many banks now, you can even do it for the rank and file. And that will be probably within a year or two. That will be absolutely universal. But I've got nothing against Grayscale Trust. They're doing a fine job and have helped a lot of people get into crypto that otherwise wouldn't have been able to. So it's good for them. I started with 10% of my entire portfolio in crypto. That has now increased to 60% of my portfolio. Should I be taking profits or hodling what I have? If I take profits, where should I be looking to put them and in what form? Great question, Barry. So you're in the situation of a lot of people. Crypto just goes up. They allocate some percentage of their portfolio, and then within months or years, all of a sudden, it's this gigantic portion of their portfolio because it outperformed everything else. So, listen, I think you want to have a rainy day fund. You want to have some backup outside of crypto. But generally, I just leave everything in crypto. Now, that's not necessarily the best strategy for you, and it's not necessarily the best strategy for anybody else. I can't give that strategy to other people because I don't know their circumstances. So, but yeah, they call it rebalancing the portfolio. What you're talking about is selling the best asset that ever has been and maybe ever will be for garbage. And maybe not like, okay, you can argue stock markets have done well over the decades. I think stocks are second to crypto. I mean, it's daylight second, and then third would be stocks. And real estate not far behind that. But you're talking about selling something that's just incredible and pristine for something else. So I don't rebalance my portfolio. I bought it, I put it away, I forgot about it. It's in deep cold storage. It would probably take me months to go and dig it out of cold storage and assemble the keys from all the places that they're hidden. So I don't do it. You can argue it's risky to do it. It does. I guess that there's some wisdom and there's some risk mitigation by rebalancing your portfolio, selling some Bitcoin, buying some other things. Yes, but I haven't been doing it, and so that's what you choose to do is going to depend on your risk appetite and your situation. But it's a great question, and many people are in this exact same situation. So I'm sure a lot of people enjoyed you asking that. Thank you. What is happening with the Telegram channel? So yes, it said there was a new platform. How do we get on it? So yeah, Jason, the Telegram channel just got, like all these free things, they just get, spam has come and ruin everything. And plus it wasn't very well organized. It was just conversations flying past, and the conversations weren't organized. So I went and created a Discord channel, and to keep the spammers out, I just put a token fee on it. It's just $9.99 a month. And in the description of this video, there'll be a link to go and join. It's called the Success Squad, and there's a free 7-day trial. Come and check it out. It is absolutely phenomenal. Actually, I'll just jump over there quickly. Yeah. So it's all broken up into rooms. So we've got buy and sell recommendations, Bitcoin rooms, Ethereum only rooms, and there's all these discussions, and it's all categorized. And you can just click through. One of the things that really blew my mind, I didn't know this was going to happen, but there's tax experts everywhere in here for all different countries, and so there's rooms for answering questions about tax and crypto in the USA and Britain and Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and you can just go and read the conversations that are relevant to you. You can follow certain rooms, cancel other rooms. If some rooms aren't interesting to you, then you just mute them and you won't have to hear about them anymore. And just it's really well laid out, categorized. There's no spam, and it really is just an amazing community. So I highly recommend you go ahead and check that out. Great question, Jason. Okay, Scott, 2 questions from Max. What rank and market cap do you see Cardano at in the next 4 years? Yeah, I haven't looked that closely at it. Even though it's my 3rd biggest bag, it's really hard to know. And when you get out of the top kind of 3, you're into an era where things just ebb and flow. They go back and forth. Binance comes up, takes a turn. Solana comes up and back and forth. Some new technology, some new narrative, some new thing. So it's really, really hard to tell where it's gonna be, what's gonna outperform. And then you've got things like NFTs coming through. Then you've got DeFi coming through. And so I don't really have an opinion on where Cardano can be in the next 4 years. I have an opinion on the general crypto world. And I agree with Raoul Paul big time. The crypto market cap, I think, is going to go up like 100x in the next 5 to 10 years. So I really recommend having some Bitcoin, having some Ethereum, and having a sprinkling of some of your favorite altcoins. But I don't. Where Cardano is going to be, I don't know. I don't even predict that. That one's too hard for me to predict. So sorry, couldn't give you more specificity there. Can you explain your reasons for a different crypto bull top time frame than, say, Ben Armstrong, BitBoy Crypto, who says the top will be no later than September, October, BTC to 100K? Yeah, I know that's his prediction, and I've seen why it's his prediction. He's going off timing from historical trends. But as I said earlier, it's different. It's always different to some degree. Just the question is when. What's the question? It's always different. The question is how different. So I think the 4-year cycle will not be around in 20 years. Does the 4-year cycle phase out? Does it get muted? Does it just stop and just some other cycle overcomes it and does something else? All of these questions are hard to explain, hard to answer, and they're just difference of opinion. I like Ben, by the way. BitBoy's cool. Been on his show around the blockchain several times. So I like the thing, and his argument for why he's going on a timing thing. He's just saying it's the number of days from halving on the past 2 cycles. But this is kind of different. And there's another argument to say, which is front running. It's such a common belief to say that December is going to happen. Well, with a lot of smart money around, a lot of institutional money around, there'll be a lot of people saying, yeah, I think December is going to be the top. So I'm going to pull out in October and start selling in October, which is absolutely something that can happen. We've seen that kind of thing happen several times throughout this cycle. In 2019, should have been a really nice, smooth bottom of the cup and handle. Instead, people are like, oh, wow, we've got to the bottom of the cup. All right, from now on, the price just goes up. And it went like vertical and crashed down in the middle of the cup and handle, right? So that was one example of where people thought they had the 4-year cycle all figured out. The market massively overreacts in advance of that and kind of ruined the cup and handle look. And even though it just came back and went back to the way the cup and handle should be, but that's what just right in the middle of the cup and handle, it just ruined it. So I can think of 2 excellent arguments for why Ben's going to be right. Front running a December peak and the timing from the thing. They're both good arguments. But there's other arguments that said the 4-year cycle is already changing. It's a different type of person in here. We've got institutions in here. They don't FOMO into things. They're long-term people, and it's just a different kind of look. So that's the reason for the different claims on why the tops are. They're all good reasons, though. Are there any NFT platforms, exchanges that we can invest in to profit from the NFT craze without actually buying an NFT? Yeah, there certainly are. I can't give you any off the top of my head because I don't follow the NFT world very closely. But there certainly are. And even just, I don't want to speak out of school because I don't follow it. But yeah, there definitely are NFT platforms that you can invest in. I'm a hodler staking ETH on Ledger. Do you know what the yield is on Ledger? There is no yield on Ledger. Ledger is just a hard wallet, and there's no yield on Ledger. You hold the private key, so it's super secure. Do you stake yourself? And if you do, which exchange do you use and why? So I haven't staked ETH because of the lockup period. And I think there might be an instance where Bitcoin might peak prior to everyone's coins being unlocked. I think the month before that, you'll see a crash in ETH because of all the people anticipating all of this money coming back onto the market, all this ETH coming back onto the market and a sell pressure. So I thought it might actually, I'll end up making more money selling some of my ETH before that happens. So I didn't stake my ETH. I do have some of the other coins, and I hold them in Kraken, and I've staked some in Kraken there as well. So that's how I do. Ledger, I don't know, maybe Ledger makes it easy for you to stake, but just having a ledger and having your coins on your ledger does not mean you're staking, just so we're clear. Max, first, thank you for the excellent, passionate work. What are the live events, venues, conferences, or seminars that you think are worth going to for crypto or otherwise, and for what level? Advanced, intermediate, and beginners. Thank you. I just kind of look at them as they come. And so whenever, I like to go to conferences too. So I'll keep an eye out. Next time I'm going to a conference, I'll let you know. But yeah, it's been a while actually. It's been May since I've been to one, and so I need to go to one. That one was a little bit of a disappointment, to be honest. It was just poorly set up, and it was outdoors, and it was super hot, and so I didn't even stay there very long. It was poorly set up, so that one was really frustrating. But hopefully we get a good Bitcoin conference here soon, and yeah, I'll check it out. What is the probability that ETH will lead the market and BTC dominance stays lower due to all altcoins in this cycle? Yeah, it's so in the last cycle, what happened was the Bitcoin dominance, or let's call it the Ethereum and altcoin dominance, peaked when the market peaked, and then when everything crashed, all the altcoins went down more than Bitcoin. Having said that, this what's been very interesting, if we come back here and check this out, just the last few months, that hasn't happened. Let's do that later. I'll click on Bitcoin dominance here, and so as you would expect, as the market heats up, Bitcoin dominance has been falling here. There's the larger trend here, and then there's this shorter trend here just in the last few weeks. So, but I would expect that would happen. So whenever this cycle peak happens, I would expect the altcoins to get damaged more than the altcoins. And you can see this actually is here. So this is the recovery. So when is this? No, this is the crash, I beg your pardon. This is the crash. When Bitcoin, when the crypto market is going down, as did happen between kind of May and through to July, then Bitcoin dominance rose. As the market heated up, altcoin season started again. So that's going to happen when we do hit our peak. Bitcoin dominance is going to rise. So yeah, hope that helps. Do I answer that question properly? So yeah, I think that's the way it's going to play out. Hey Max, there are talks of bond yields being tapered at some point this year. How do you think that would affect the crypto markets? And does this change any of your predictions or opinions? So they're talking about lowering interest rates. No, hang on, lowering interest rates? No, increasing interest rates. So they're always talking about this. So there's two things they're trying to do. Tapering, nicknamed their taper tantrums, and they're tapering their purchases, which is going to mean they're going to let the yields rise. So it's interest rates going up, which is what they're talking about. It's what they always wanted to do. It's what they've wanted to do since 2008. And the moment they tried it, it failed spectacularly, and they had to reverse course. So they can't do anything. Like, they can't raise interest rates, not in any meaningful way. They might be able to increase it a few points, but not in any meaningful way. and they can't stop buying bonds. They can't do any of this stuff. They are stuck. And if they do any of these things, it just causes a massive market crash. It'll hit real estate, it'll hit stock markets, it'll hit Bitcoin, it'll hit everything. And you have to be prepared for it because they could do it, they could try it, but they can't do it in any meaningful way. The moment they try and do it, they'll cause all these problems, and then they'll just go right back to printing more money and lowering interest rates again. So no, it doesn't really change anything. This just goes back to the deflation-inflation debate that everyone's having. May you please advise or direct me to a resource on how to borrow against Bitcoin crypto to avoid paying capital gains tax and selling? I don't want to sell. Is there a limit on much to diversify a portfolio? Is so that you can do a recommendation. Thanks, Max. Love your work. Yeah, in the link of this description of this video, there's a link to BlockFi. Go and click that link, sign up to a BlockFi account, and you will be able to do all of the things that you're asking to do right there. You seeing a whack off on the Cardano chart? I haven't looked at the Cardano chart. Let's have a quick look at it. That's a fun question. Where are we? Let's find Cardano. I assume you mean USD. And I'm assuming you're talking about in this narrow time frame. It's looked like a lot of the coins have done whack-offs actually, just because it just kind of looked like April, May Bitcoin. It just went up and kind of fell off and went flat. So the question did pop into my mind the other day that, I believe that Bitcoin loves to repeat patterns. Are we going to have another whack-off sell-off? So that question did pop into my mind. I'm not sure if this looks like a proper whack-off. Maybe it could come into that, maybe. But we'll see. I think it's a bit early days to call that whack-off just yet. When Bitcoin breaks up with its moonshot run, will the better altcoins go up as dramatically or as more as Bitcoin at the same time or lag behind Bitcoin? Probably go up just as much, if not a little more. As I said earlier, typically when the crypto market is going up, altcoins outperform. Typically when it's going down, altcoins underperform, overperform and it going down. Bitcoin goes down less. So that's what typically happens. But usually what happens is Bitcoin leads. Bitcoin goes up and then altcoins come up and just come up sharper and later. But this Bitcoin dominance dance that we've been seeing right now is really throwing that into whack. Again, evidence that things are a little bit different here. Max, do you recommend earning funds from staking ETH? What are the pros and cons of that? The cons are the ETH get locked up. The pros are you make a good interest rate, which is kind of fun. It's fun to earn free Ethereum. So that's cool and that's fun. So yeah, but the cons are it's locked up. And there's certainly a theory out there that the funds are going to get, so in anticipation of that, anticipation of all the funds being unlocked, the Ethereum, a lot of people are going to sell off before that happens because they think the price of Ethereum will go down once all those coins are released at a later date. So there are your two trade-offs. So maybe it's an idea to think of what's some ETH that you would never sell, may as well stake it and earn interest. Then there's some portion of ETH that you would sell in advance of that, keep that. Max, all your fans want to know what your real name is. We promise not to tell. It just messes things up for SEO. It's really not that big a secret. I've told plenty of people. Yeah. Is it imminent for bail-ins in the EU? It's a great question, Ruben. I don't know how long they can kick the can down the road, but the EU is a complete mess. It's a broken system. You have these nation states with taxing authority. Then you have this monolith at the top with monetary policy. And they just can't bounce back and forth together both ways are completely broken, but it's especially broken in the EU. And so, bail-ins, I think bail-ins are going to hit the EU at some point. But time will tell, unless the powers that be have changed their strategy because Bitcoin has forced them to. Hi, Max. Assuming Bitcoin goes parabolic this year and at least breaks into the $100,000 to $200,000 price range, am I better off selling all my Bitcoin at the top and reinvesting at the bottom of the bear market, or hodling some of my Bitcoin for the next 4 years? I would definitely hodl some, although I tend to lean towards the shorter term trades. What percentage of Bitcoin might you recommend holding over the next 4 years versus selling off at the top in the next few months? And would you advise be the same for my altcoin stash as well? In other words, should I sell everything at the top? Look, if you can pick the top, Definitely, I would definitely be more inclined to sell your Bitcoins. No, I take that back. Your altcoins, that typically they're going to go down faster, as I said earlier here in this video. Typically, altcoins. So I'd definitely be leaning heavily on liquidating the altcoins on the way down. And it's like if you know with specificity, this is going to be the top of the market. The 4-year cycle is going to play out again. Then yeah, you just sell at the top, you buy at the bottom, you do what you've done the last couple cycles, and it's kind of relatively easy. But there's always this thing: is it different this time? Is it different? What is going to be different? How's it going to be different? And that's the question you're going to have to ask yourself. What you're really doing there is just calculating your certainty. And that's what I always found that I do. Okay, I think it's a top. I'm going to take some profits here because I think it might be a top, but am I certain it's a top? The answer is no. So I want to keep some because I know if I keep some, it just means I hold it for a few years. I didn't have to pay capital gains tax on it, things like that. Now I've just kept all the time because it was cash flow rich from other things, from businesses and real estate and things like that. So I never needed to take profits from crypto, and I just kept it all in there and never paid, which is good because I never paid tax on it. Now, as it turns out, when it crashes like 70%, if you know that in advance, great, you cash out, you pay your capital gains tax in there, you buy back in, and you have even more Bitcoin than you have before. So, that's perfectly acceptable too. But no one knows that this 4-year cycle is going to go on forever. In fact, pretty much everyone knows it's not going to go on forever. The question becomes, does it stop out this time? How deep is this retracement? And what does it look like? But I do think we're just so close to just a billion users coming to Bitcoin and crypto, I should say. So why just to wait just a handful of years and just let that play out? That seems very attractive to me. But I'm in a position where I don't need the money. If I sell Bitcoin, what am I going to do with it? So it's not like I need it for lifestyle. Now, if you need it for lifestyle, there's no point being the richest guy in the graveyard. So I understand people selling if they want it for lifestyle. There are alternatives, but those alternatives take risk. If you can borrow against your Bitcoin, but then if Bitcoin goes down 80%, you might get liquidated. So you only want to borrow, a relatively small amount of your Bitcoin, 10 or 20%. And so these are the questions, but it's all specific on where the individual's at, their tax considerations, their age, their other financial, what's the rest of their financial statement look like? Do they have money coming in from something else? All these kind of things run into it. Do you see the stock market crashing before or after Bitcoin rockets up in this bull run? I really hope afterwards, because if the stock market crashes, it will put a real ding on Bitcoin. And so I would like to see Bitcoin go ballistic first, and then after I've taken some profits out of Bitcoin, which I will do this cycle, then the stock market crash, and then I can come in and buy a whole bunch of stocks and real estate and everything else. So hopefully it doesn't, but I'm not sure. That's, again, you can't rely on economics. Nothing matters. They can make it crash whenever the hell they want it to crash. So that's it. That's where I operate from. I have crypto holdings presently, but I do not feel comfortable investing anymore as it will put too much at risk. That's a perfectly reasonable strategy, Joe. I keep hearing about the Great Reset, and with inflation continuing to go up and sickness mandates also. I also have some fiat that I'm concerned about getting wiped out or becoming worthless over time. It's not enough dollars to get into real estate yet, so I'm not sure what to do with the spare dollars. Yeah, Joe, you've articulated the problem that literally everyone has. It's like if you keep it in dollars, it's going to get inflated away to zero, so you feel terrible leaving it in dollars. If you put it in the things that have been going up for the last 13 years, like Bitcoin and real estate and stock market, are you buying at the top? It's just about to have a crash. And it all comes down to this question: are we going into deflation? Are we going into inflation? And the answer is nobody knows, and I highly recommend you have a plan for both. I've shared what mine is earlier in this plan, but have a plan for both so that you'll be okay either way. What is your view on XRP? Some say it's a Nexus coin, stay away, and some say it's the best investment now. So there's two different questions. I don't participate in it because I don't like it philosophically, because it just doesn't serve the purposes, it doesn't help humanity in any meaningful way. So I stay away from it, but it could be a fantastic investment in the short term. That's fine. I don't think it wins long term, but it could be a great investment short term. Hi Max, I'm interested in your thoughts in earning interest on crypto instead of cashing in and having to pay capital gains. What are the safest ways to do this in your opinion? Thanks. Well, I think we're close. We're relatively close to having decentralized ways of doing this, a really, really cool way. Right now, I think the best way is link in the description. Go to BlockFi.com. So go into the description of this video, find the link to BlockFi.com, sign up for an account there, and you can deposit your crypto there, and they will lend it to you at very modest interest rates. They will lend you cash, or USDC, I probably think. Another cue, from looking at the previous Bitcoin peaks after the halving, it looks like they all peaked in December before leading us into a crypto winter. Based on that, I would expect that BTC peaks before the end of the year. People have to withdraw the BTC to cash pay tax and on their realized earnings instead of possible future earnings. In your most recent Success Council video, I noticed you put you expect BTC to keep rising for another 12 to 18 months. As the end of this year is coming up and paying taxes is a huge concern, could you go into those scenarios based on what BTC has been doing? Thank you for your excellent videos. It's everything you said there is your rationale is accurate. That historically, that's usually peaks in December, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen that way. I mean, the what's it called? The data points that we have are two bubbles, right? 2013, 2017. Now we had a little bubble in 2019. We had quite a big bubble in 2011. But yes, those two big bubbles, the 2013, 2017, they peaked in December. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Now I think it absolutely could and might. But just be mindful thinking, oh, I found this very simple thing in the charts because everybody's talking about that. And usually if everybody's talking about it and everybody understands that, that's not going to happen. So I'm starting to think the more likely scenario is, Ben Armstrong could be wrong, people could be front running that and we might see peaks a little earlier. It happens later because people are not getting excited by it, or maybe because of that mix of front running that, it just kind of mutes everything. It could be that we just have an elongated one now because I really don't like going with the herd. And pretty much everyone knows about this December concept. So something to be very, very cautious of. What's your opinion of grid trading? Yeah, keep an eye on your inbox. I'm actually experimenting with that right now. And I think it's going to be a really good, way to hedge your portfolio. Because grid trading works really well in sideways markets. And so you're going to make really good money, like really good money. I'm making really good money with grid trading. And soon I'll have something packaged up for you. And I'll help everybody get involved in that, like just in a couple of weeks, like probably 2 weeks away, I'll be able to give that to you. Very excited to give that to you. It's going to be very cool. So keep an eye on that. But let me experiment with my money first and let's dial it in a little bit. And so what I love about it is it takes out the... from a Trump phrase, actually Trump's father's phrase, take the lumps out. So when you're investing in crypto, you got these big highs and these big downs, and this when you're totally exposed to the price. If you put a portion of your portfolio into grid trading, it's something that just kind of creates, if the price skyrockets, there's an opportunity cost that your money's not going to go up as fast. But when the price of Bitcoin is going sideways, you're getting bored. Even when it's going down, that grid trading is just making cash flow for you along the way. It's taking the lumps out of your portfolio and smoothing it out a little bit. And so I quite like that. It's good. It's a good way to do things. Okay, been a Success Council member for a long time. Love your work and your presentation style. Thank you. My question is, in the event of a cyber shutdown, which keeps being talked of, I love these people always ask the questions. All these things which keep being talked of, it's like, in the world of YouTube, literally every single thing is talked about. Flat Earth, that's talked about. But yeah, there's always people, okay, so there's a cyber shutdown coming according to some people. Okay, which is my Ledger Nano a safe place to store my crypto? And if not, what measures would be the best to take? Thank you. So if you're using a Ledger Nano, I very much hope you have a paper backup. But either way, both your paper backup and your Ledger, if the internet is shut down, you are not going to lose your crypto. You just can't send it anywhere for the time period that it's shut down. But you're not going to lose any of your crypto. They will be safe. The utility of Bitcoin will be gone, but I think people, which I think will hurt, like, oh, there you go. But literally everything else will be shut down as well. All banking systems will be closed. ATMs will be shut. Literally everything will be shut. So it's like just all commerce stops. There's not going to be some situation where people are doing what, like gold and silver trading or bartering. That's what we'll go to if that happens. It'll be pretty barbaric. When do you think we will get into real estate next year? I hope so, Norman. I just want real estate to just get blown out of the water. If everything keeps going up, that's fine. We're in crypto. Crypto is going to outperform everything else. So I'm cool. I'm not in a rush for it, but I think at some point there'll be a hurt put on real estate. It could be like March 2020, be a relatively short-lived one. It's like stock market wise and real estate wise, because the Fed will just print. So I think all the problems are going to be short-lived, but I would plan on taking advantage when I can. Hi, I'm a bit late. I live in Cairns, so no rush or anything. Still not sure what I'm doing. You are my guiding light. On the plus side, my portfolio held on an Australian site is going well. Thanks. No questions at the moment, following others which may be more intelligent than mine. Well, thank you for that, and glad your portfolio is doing well. Do you recommend taking a loan against my Bitcoin instead of selling? So yeah, Nicole, that's something, again, this is something that it fits into your strategy. It's an excellent tool to have in the toolbox. It's not like you should do all of one or all of the other. And it depends on your situation, which I've kind of answered this question before, but if you have big cash coming in from businesses or some other source, then you probably don't need to sell any crypto. You can just do what you're talking about there. But maybe you might need to do that for a lifestyle. What's the point of making all this money if you never get to use it? So you got to use it at some point too. It just depends on what your priorities are. Do you want to keep it all in investing, or do you want to, or you're ready to just de-risk a little bit in the crypto market? So it's just a big question. How does one take profits? And if it's just selling the amount over what you originally buy amount, can you explain how you know when it would be a benefits to take profits and then reinvesting? Is that only using the spreadsheet? So taking profits usually it means selling a portion of your position. So let's say you bought 10 Bitcoins a while ago, and then like taking profits would be selling 2 Bitcoins, selling 3 Bitcoins, selling 5 Bitcoins. You sell a portion of what you bought. If you sell your entire position, then that's not really called taking profit. That's just called closing out your position, liquidating. So taking profits is selling a portion of your position. And when to do that? How do you know when to do that? I mean, that's what everyone's trying to figure out, right? Everyone wants to sell at the top. Everyone wants to buy at the bottom. It's our job to try and figure out where that is. And so we're using all different kinds of models to figure that out. On-chain analytics, historical perspectives, trading indicators, all these things come into it. Understanding of the market cycle, information about what's coming down the pike in terms of technological advance, what countries are considering and adopting it, what businesses are considering making their treasury reserve asset. There's a million things that come into this. But the big overall theme that I would say is that it's within a relatively short amount of time, probably just 2 or 3 years, probably 3 years, probably 2 or 3 years. We're going to have about 1 billion crypto users, and by 2027 or 2028, we're talking about 3 billion crypto users by most of the models that I see that I think are pretty accurate. So there's just a lot more people coming in. You're very, very early. And so that's something to consider. That's the short term. When's it going to peak? When's it going to not? We're going to get that wrong more often than we get that right. That's just how markets work. But in that long term, I think you're going to be good. Please explain how to enter the Discord community. So Andrea, if just email support. Just email support, and they'll help you do it. So I'm assuming because you've written on here, it could be that you're a paid member. And it depends on when you became a paid member. I forgot the date, but something like the middle of August. There was a cutoff date. Everyone who became a member before August, it was included. I gave it to them. Everybody after the middle of August, it's something else that members can purchase. And so, depending if you have bought for a while back before the middle of August, then you're entitled to it for free. But that window is going to close soon. So actually, let's just do that now. If that window is closed, you need to accept that at some point. So let's just put that at the end of September. So from the end of September, if you haven't claimed that yet, then you'll just have to purchase like everybody else, because that's getting a bit hard to manage all that stuff. If you have purchased after August, then you can claim the free 7-day trial, and that's the first link in the description of this video. What do you recommend as the best source for learning technical analysis? I would say it's more about learning from a teacher that resonates with you. So I think that comes down to like the tonality, the timbre of their voice, their energy, their persona. I think they're actually like one of the most important things. Of course, they need to be good traders, but there's so many people teaching trading, and you probably want to get information from a lot of them. But for me, I always just want to find the teacher that resonates with me. Who's the one that just has that flow and talk and energy that I really resonate with? So I think that's how you should choose a teacher generally. Hi Max, a few weeks ago you mentioned a possible stock market crash. The scariest chart for Bitcoin and crypto predicts another 50% crash and showed how this period looks similar to that of around March 2020. What's your latest take on the analysis of that, and should it happen soon, what would happen to the direction of the crypto space and outcome at the end of the bull run? If the stock market crashes like 50%, Bitcoin will get hit. All of crypto will get hit really hard, and real estate will get hit hard. Everything will go down kind of together. So that's what's going to happen if the crash happens. So now this 50% crash I just mentioned is a possibility. This comes down to the question that everyone wants to know: deflation, inflation. The Harry Dents of the world, right, where everything's going to crash, or the Peter Schiffs of the world, right, where everything just goes off in hyperinflation style. And it's just, I don't know. And quite frankly, it does, like, you can't figure it out because they will do whatever it is they want to do to hurt the most number of people. I'm not an insider. I can't tell you what they're going to do. But economics doesn't play a role in this anymore. It just depends what they want to do, what fits into their plans. Is Rune worth keeping at this stage? I'm down on Rune, but on other things like Link, ADA, running faster, or put into ETH and build my Ethereum. So you're down on Rune. Sorry to hear that. I'm actually up on Rune. But as I mentioned, when I taught people about it, I said the price was high and I recommend waiting until the price comes down. So I'm up on Rune. I still think Rune is an excellent project with just an enormous amount of potential. So I haven't sold any of my Rune. What's the best place to stake ADA for the long term? I use Kraken just because it's easy, but there's just so many things that go into that. And so different people are going to know, the different people are going to have different answers to that. I just do it at Kraken because that's where I'm signed up to and it's easy enough. Hi Max, I'm a 2-year subscriber at this point. The overwhelming majority of your videos are on Bitcoin. Wondering if you're planning to cover more market content such as guidance for gold, silver, real estate, getting started in entrepreneurship, or others. Will you please talk about your planned coverage in these areas going forward? I'm talking about real-time content here, not the content available on Success Council website. I'm aware and have seen that content. That's a good question. What do you guys want me to talk about more? Let me know in the comments below. I think people generally want to hear about crypto in a crypto bull market, but I can talk about other stuff too, and it's just a matter of what you guys are gonna want to hear. So let me know in the comments below. I'll give you some things to spur the dream. Let me know anything you want, but. Do you want more crypto content? Do you want precious metals content? Do you want mindset content? Do you want entrepreneur content? Do you want general macro news and market situation content? Anything else, let me know. Can you share any old settings you use on your trading view charts? Mine doesn't always look the same as yours, despite hourly, daily, whatever. Wondering if there are other settings I can adjust. There's a lot of settings you can adjust, but not necessarily better or worse. Like you can pretty much click on anything and there'll be a settings thing. It's a cog. Just click on, here, I'll show you. So let's say, like for example, what's this? I got this line here, right? I can click on this line and see I got these dots everywhere. Actually, I don't even do that here. For this, so that's a moving average. So I can click on settings and I can make it visually look different. Why are we being so slow? Well, okay. You can click on settings normally, but for right now you can't. I don't know why. But you click on that settings, but that cog, and you can change the thickness of the line, the color of the lines. You can do whatever. You can click up here, and you can show your indicators or not. In order to get, so these are called oscillators down here. There are indicators down here, and then there's the on chart stuff. All of those you find here in indicators and strategies. And so you can just add them and then they just pop in there and you can resize them and make them different, do whatever you want. You can also move things around. There's just a lot you can do. So it's depending on what you're trying to achieve. What do we think? What do you think will happen to ADA, Link, Dot, and Sol in the next bull run? I think they're all going to go up. Like they're all going to go up. All of those projects are good projects. Dot's been a little bit of a weak performer lately, but the others should all go up. What do you think will happen to BTC and ETH and alts when there is a broad market crash in Q4? Do you think there will finally be a huge stock market crash soon? So it's just the inflation deflation question. It's what everyone wants to know, and you can't know. And so you have to have a strategy that says you'll be fine either way. Raoul Powell has strong conviction that the Bitcoin ETF is coming in October. Any thoughts on how that would affect the duration of the bull market? Yeah, I think that would be an enormously good thing. So Raoul Powell said something the other day. I think it's a really good point. What are the big news points? What are the big narrative shifts, the big news points that can really give rocket fuel to either Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever? And I think, so the main ones that jump to mind for Bitcoin is the launch of an ETF. That could be huge. And also several other companies coming on in a big way, like MicroStrategy style. If either one of those two things happen, you'll see a really big kickstart to a big Bitcoin push. So, you know, is Raoul right about October? I don't know the answer to that. Not privy to that. He's got way better information than me on that one with his contacts. So it's an interesting one. Rune has been hacked and trade site does not work, yet prices go up. Is this still one of your top picks, and when does it take off? So yeah, look, I don't know when it takes off, but this is trading, right? You buy and you wait for you wait for the boom to come to you. And I still believe in Rune a lot. It is a complicated project. It had a setback with that hack, but I think it's a very manageable hack. They're going to get on top of it. It's gone up. I think it went down to $2. It's up to $10. It went down to $2 because of the hack, and it's up to $10. And then this is all being traded on what do you call them? Like it's like Binance Chain is the main one, but this is the Rune token traded on Binance because the native token you can't trade. So you can't trade with Thorchain, I should say. If you find someone off chain to trade with, you can. Hi Max, how do I get the BT dominance chart, please? That one's an easy one. I can teach you that one real fast. It's BTCD, BTC.D. If you just come up here, click in there and type BTC.D, you'll have the BTC dominance chart. If you click this plus sign and do that, you'll add it to your watch list. What is that one? Hi Max, I'm a new subscriber, but what a service you give. Thank you. Having started in 2017 and not taken profit ever, I now find I have a significant six-figure portfolio. Congratulations, well done. Do you have a service to guide diversification into other asset classes? Only when I do it. Now that doesn't mean that's the right time for everybody else to do it. We've kind of chatted about this in this Q&A. So other people might want to diversify ahead of me or after me for various different reasons. But I will show you how and where I diversify into other asset classes when I do it. I just haven't done it yet. But you guys will be the first to know. I'll let you know, so you will know. You mentioned altcoin trend, maybe altcoin season. How do I know when to sell altcoins? I mean, just everyone would say, it's all the same question, right? It's like, just tell me what's going to happen in the market, like we have complete certainty. And I really got to warn everybody, you got to get out of this mindset. Like, even when you think you know, you don't know. So you have beliefs, and you weight your portfolio in a certain direction or not. That let's say you think inflation's coming, or let's say you think deflation's coming. But then you got to run around the scenarios around, well, what if you're wrong? What if the opposite happens? And so now you got to factor in the equations of, well, if I'm wrong, how much does it cost me? And what are the time frames before the market rebounds and I get right, and things like that. And those are the kinds of questions that you need to do to manage this, to manage your thing. So I think we're going to have a great end of the year in terms of crypto. And so, I'm heavily weighted in just the crypto market going up. But could the crypto market crash? Probably because the stock market and real estate market crash? Absolutely, that can happen. So I have a plan, which I've shared with everybody here many, many times about how to deal with that. So I've shared it on this video many times, so it's right there. Hey Max, I'm a big crypto bull like yourself, and I'm curious what's your view on the next wave of COVID this fall and how that could impact the markets, thus potentially affecting the crypto market too, and perhaps shortening the last leg of this bull market. Thanks. Hey Max, do you plan on selling bulk of your BTC? Bulk, hell no. You know, the top blower phase, or you always keep a small holding bag? No, I think I'm going to keep a large holding bag, but I will sell just a little bit, probably less than 5% of my Bitcoin, just to have some FU money lying around. That's why. Otherwise, I just going to hold Bitcoin forever, like and other alts. I'll just hold crypto forever. It is the future. There's a billion users coming very, very, very soon. And if they want it, they have to throw a stupid amount of money. If they want my Bitcoin, they got to throw a stupid amount of money at me to buy my Bitcoin. And even then, I'll only give 5%. And I think a lot of the long-term holders think that. So there's a lot of people coming in, and they're going to be fighting over a very, very small supply of Bitcoin. There is chatter about what the US may do to protect citizens from the abuses of crypto. Additionally, the US Senate rejected provisions designed to clarify who has to give what to the IRS regarding crypto investments. For US citizens, what do you see are potential regulatory dangers of investing in crypto, and do you have any advice on how to prepare for it? Prepare one's holdings to minimize exposure to government's power grab. So just all the things that we talk about. One, hold your own private keys. It's pretty important. And number two, if you're borrowing against your Bitcoin and you're not selling, then there's no tax at the moment. There's tax on the interest you earn, but there's no tax. There's no sale event, and there's no tax. So and if it gets too aggressive, you can always just leave and renounce your citizenship. A good thing to do. So for U.S. citizens, there's an exit tax. If you ever decide that America's gone full tyranny and just wants to tax everyone's crypto at 90%. The beautiful thing about crypto is you just walk across the border with it and you're gone. You never have to come back. It's very, very easy to escape with your wealth. But for U.S. citizens, you still pay U.S. taxes whether you live in the country or not. For the rest of the world, that's not true. You just go to a different country. You move to Portugal, move to somewhere fun that has low crypto taxes, and you're golden. U.S. citizens do not have that luxury. They're going to pay U.S. taxes no matter where they are unless they renounce their U.S. citizenship. If you choose to renounce your U.S. citizenship, you're going to pay a one-time wealth tax, which is you're going to leave the country, and the day you renounce your citizenship, you have to add up all of your net worth, not just your income, your net worth, and everything that's to your name, and then you have to give 33% of that to the U.S. government, right? So the US have that problem. Now, the cool thing about crypto and holding your own keys and things like that, it's not in traditional networks. And if you wanted to be cheeky, I'm not advocating this, but if you wanted to be cheeky and say that you didn't own any crypto, and then you're gone, and then all of a sudden you're in another country, you're forgotten about, and a few years later, who knows what you find and what you invested in between now and then than since when you left the US. But all the money in your bank accounts, all the real estate, all the thing when there's a paper trail, that's going to be, you're going to have to pay taxes on that. So the exit tax if you choose to do that. Where to put money up exits? That's interesting. Not into real estate since I'm retired. I don't understand your question, Charles. Where to put money up exits? Not into real estate since I'm retired. I don't understand why you wouldn't put it in real estate because you're retired. But if you want to exit Bitcoin and take some profits there and put it into something, then it depends on when. When are you planning on exiting? Have real estate? I would just leave it in cash for a portion. If you want to de-risk a little bit, just leave it in cash as something, and then some dividend-paying stuff. Stocks and real estate seem fun to me. Hi, Max. Trying to get into crypto from Toronto. What are the best crypto exchanges for Canadians? Everything is so regulated here. Coinbase doesn't work. Thoughts on BitBuy, Kraken, etc. So, hey, Karen, sorry to hear that about Canada. I don't know. What I would do is I would go to CoinMarketCap. I would click on, is it markets? And then, is it markets or trading? I think it's markets. And I would find where the largest trading market is for BTC/CAD, Canadian dollars. And that's going to tell you what exchanges are happy to have Canadians as customers. So, and just find out where the biggest volume is for the trading pair BTC/CAD. And I would go and sign up at that exchange. Hey Max, if things get very bad quickly and banks shut off access to individual accounts because of social credit scores, if things get and people shut off access to individual accounts because of social credit scores and not updated vaccines, how do you get some crypto out in cash to use to pay your expenses? If that happens, you're going to have a massive black market. There will be people on your street selling crypto for cash. That's how that will work. Hey Max, if your goal is to diversify assets for the upcoming collapse and you start scaling out at the top of the bull run, would you partially step into lower yielding long-term asset knowing it could give a lower return, or is the highest return right now always king? Scaling out. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm probably scale out into some cash towards the top. So that has no yield. And will almost certainly be worthless in 20 years. So yeah, I mean that's fine. You can go into some. You can if you want to exit crypto and go into something that's lower yield or zero yield. That's a possibility. Because I mean, if you believe that you're at some crypto top and like it's a traditional 4-year cycle, then you're also saying that you want to get back in kind of like 12 to 18 months, maybe 24 months. So you only need a place to put your cash for a year, and then you can get back into crypto. So if that's what if you believe, like when you speak about the end of the bull run, you're speaking in terms of 4-year cycle. So what that means is you're going to buy back in a little bit. So yeah, you want to put into some little yieldy thing, or just leave it as cash. I don't think it's going to matter much. It's going to work out relatively well either way. Hey Max, first off, cheers to you for getting me into BTC. I bought 1 BTC at the beginning of the year and I'm very happy. I owe you a steak dinner. That said, I keep it on Gemini's exchange as it's easy for me and have not moved it into cold storage or a wallet. Am I wrong in doing it this way? Does the funding rate affect it? Thanks, sir. Not sure what the funding rate is. I don't use Gemini, but hopefully you've got two-factor authentication turned on as a minimum, and hopefully they'll even be allowed a third-factor authentication. And if you've got all that, I'm sure holding it in Gemini is pretty good. Just to imagine your risk, I'm completely comfortable in the Gemini exchange. It's a good outfit. The only question there is if you personally get hacked. I'm not worried about Gemini getting hacked. I'm worried about you personally getting hacked. To make sure your accounts are all fully second and third party verified. Also, hang on, do I just make sure I didn't get rid of anything? Yes. Oh, by the way, congrats on owning a Bitcoin. You are doing very well. You're doing very well. Also, found this video on how to pay zero taxes on crypto gains using what's called a charitable remainder trust. Would love your thoughts, maybe a potential interview for the channel. Thank you. I will check that out. I do like that stuff. Hey Max, anything new with ThorChain? Still interested in earning higher interest with Bitcoin completely anonymously. Wouldn't mind getting out of KYC BlockFi if I can. If I remember correctly though, they needed more liquidity before it was a solid option for this. Yeah, so trading has halted on ThorChain. I think it's going to be back in about a month or two. And then they will still have caps and they will still gently raise those caps over time. So you're probably a few months away from being able to put your Bitcoin in there. Good day, Max. You often reference how consistent the 4-year cycle is and the crypto winter that follows the bull runs. With governments destroying their economies, are there possible scenarios that could play out which would alter the cycle? Absolutely. You've mentioned bank failures and bail-ins as scenarios that would be great for Bitcoin. If that happened during crypto winter, what's the likely outcome? It doesn't matter when that happens. If there's a bail-in any serious way in a first world country, Bitcoin goes absolutely parabolic. And it doesn't matter what cycle we're in Bitcoin. And yeah, I've been talking about this a lot, so I won't repeat myself. But yeah, you're asking, is the 4-year cycle hold true, or does it change a little bit? And absolutely, the 4-year cycle can change a little bit. And that's something we're all kind of debating right now. If I can, I'll see if I can get some people on the channel to debate that and discuss that. If I want to dollar cost average out a certain percentage of my BTC and F for lifestyle choices during the current bull run, at what price level do you think would be a good time to start for both coins? I can give you. I would wait a month, and probably several for this. But I would think I would wait until at least November. more of a time basis than a price target. But if you want a price target, I would also wait until at least 100,000. I think 100,000 is a little bit of a lock for later on this year. Right now, sorry, what's that? What NFT should a person be buying right now? I don't know NFTs well enough, I'm sorry. Hi Max, you're the best. Thanks for being such a well thought out content. For one to be healthy, one must rest. Being stuck in such a hustling society, how do you personally like to disconnect and recharge? Oh, that's a fun one. I mean, all the normal ways. I boat a lot, so yeah, spend most of my weekends out on boats. And I'm a water guy, so I've always lived next to ocean. It's just a unfortunate family situation that has me living somewhere that's not near an ocean. But so I spend time on the water as much as I can. But I kind of find this kind of is my down. I don't need downtime for this. This is, I love making videos. I love reading. I love watching videos. I love learning. I've been a student my whole life. And so this is kind of, learning is just fun for me. And so I don't need much of a downtime, so I can call it family time. So I do take being a dad very, very, very seriously. And I spend a lot of time parenting. And that's really fun for me. If anything, I need a downtime for parenting. That does get stressful sometimes, but generally it's just an absolute joy. Hi Max, if BTC dominance keeps trending downwards, does that mean BTC won't go up? Or does it mean BTC won't go up as much as altcoins? It means the latter. Is it possible to have a peak in Bitcoin and altcoins at the same time, or is it just one another? Typically, the altcoins will peak about a month after Bitcoin. And so it's a really good canary in the coal mine. But typically, Bitcoin will falter and end its peak before Bitcoin. Also, Bitcoin usually starts its run a little earlier, and altcoins kind of follow later and more steeply. But we're not seeing that now with Bitcoin down, Bitcoin dominance down where it is at around that 40 mark. Hey Max, where can one find what new coins are coming out, and how do we know if they are shit or shinola? Man, there's so many coins coming out, and the way you really got to be in the know, you got to be connected to the world. And so there are some YouTube channels that just focus on this and specialize this. There's some of the smaller channels, but there's some things to watch. Some YouTube channels focus on these altcoins. That's one way. There's several paid services that kind of claim to be able to do this. I'm not a member of any of them or use any of them, but there's a whole little subculture in the Bitcoin world that's for that, and you just got to tap into it. So look for just keep searching for YouTubers and paid services and things like that, and they'll let you know. Hey Max, please recommend a source for education and training on DeFi, training and trading bots. On the DeFi trading and trading bots, I don't know of many trading bots on DeFi, but I haven't looked too carefully either. But that's a good one. That's a real fun one. Yeah, DeFi trading bot, that'll be fun. And learning DeFi trading. So I've via email, I've let you guys know about several guys of those. Several guys who are doing that, the ones who I thought were the best. So I would just keep an eye out. I think I'll have one coming up here in the next few weeks via email. Hi Max, love the group, keep it up. My question is, will you be taking your profits into USDT or BC at the end of this bull run? And will you be using applications like Celsius to earn interest during the bear market? So Celsius is a competitor to BlockFi, for those of you who don't know Celsius. And yeah, I like Celsius. So I can totally see myself using Celsius. And no, I'll be taking my profits into dollars. I'll be taking my profits into dollars. And I think I'll just buy, the reason I want it is I just want another, just personal, just for house. So I will take profits for dollars for investing in real estate, like buying apartment buildings. That's just to rebalance the portfolio a little bit and get that cash flow coming in. But I'm not going to do that until I feel like the time is right for real estate to actually do that. Another reason for, I would buy another like holiday house. So I need to buy myself another holiday house. And so I will be taking, I'll sell a couple coins or something to make that happen whenever I feel like the time is right. So, but other than that, I'm just going to stay mostly in crypto. Okay, that was the last question, guys. So once again, let me know, what would you like this channel to cover more? I really, really want to get that information. What do you guys want me to talk more about? Because I love teaching. I know a lot of stuff. I'm happy to share with it. I can do just news and info and all other things. So let me know in the comments below what you want me to teach you more about, so that I can keep teaching you. And if it's just the technical, the TA on crypto and Bitcoin is getting old for you, let me know. I'm more than happy to switch it up, and I'll help you guys learn whatever it is you guys want to learn. So let me know in the comments below. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you soon. Take care.